Hello YouTube and welcome back to World of Warships with Wadres again, and today's video is going to be a little bit special for you. Now, I am rolling my disclaimer because this is my standard operating procedure. However, today's battle is actually going to be rather special. It is in fact me taking on a ranked match. Yes. I did, in fact, decide to dive in for a ranked match and at least secure some of the basic ranked rewards that I was due for having at least a couple of ranks previously unlocked. So there is that. And I usually skip into maybe one battle every ranked season just to kind of secure those rewards and get them into my port, because that generally does include at least a nice little pittance worth of steel, so that I have at least some modicum of steel income. But every now and then, usually it doesn't seem like there's anything really worth a damn in any of the ranked matches that I get into. This one was quite the exception in my USS Missouri, and those of you who know, this ranked season is Tier 9, and, well, one of my best ships, one of my favorite ships even, is the USS Missouri, which, of course, is a good credit printer through ranked and random battles, among other things. And I would honestly go on I would be more than willing to say it's probably one of the best Tier 9 ships, if not just one of the better Tier 9 premium ships that's out there right now. Just because, compared to her sister ship on the tech tree, the USS Iowa, her statistics don't really change too much. She does have the addition of the radar consumable, obviously, but beyond that, her parameters, her standard operation, etc., and so forth, are basically very well known. And that actually makes for a very, very good situation for any player, really, because that means they don't have to break too much from their norm and to move on to a ship that maybe they aren't particularly comfortable with, that's more competitive or whatever. And, well, the Missouri is, again, it's a very comfortable, very normal, very routine ship, and that's one of the few reasons that I actually love playing in the Missouri. It's a very good, very strong ship. And in the right hands, in the right circumstances, it shines like few others will. I mean, you can pull accuracy from this ship that would make even some of the higher Sigma battleships envious, I think. Now, granted, higher Sigma is just more consistent accuracy, but the just actual direct accuracy of the US battleships with some of the modules they can fit is impressive. Now, yeah, of course, there are still shots that go very wild, and they do tend to do so because you don't have the higher Sigma values like you'd have on, say, the Yamato or those. But, again, just, I find that the guns of the American battleships are inherently more consistent due to tighter dispersion angles or tighter dispersion ellipses rather than lower or higher Sigma values. So that's one of the reasons why I always will come back to the American battleships and my mainstay, the USS Missouri, rather frequently. And, well, considering that the USS Missouri is probably my most played ship, in fact, I think I was looking at my statistics recently, my Missouri, I've got something like 880 battles in. I think my next highest after that is only something like 400 or 500. So, yeah, this is a ship that I know almost inside and out. And I can really kind of make it dance with the right circumstances. Now, going into the battle tactics that I'm utilizing here, I'm playing more aggressively as a battleship, for one thing. I've actually decided to push forward and not necessarily contest C, but definitely be in a position where I can actively cover C. And I put myself into a position where it's just going to be very difficult for the enemy to dislodge me. Every angle that the enemy, say, destroyers, could come at me from, their torpedoes, if they decide to drop from concealment, they're pretty much going to be bow on, where I'm only really going to eat one torpedo at most if they launch torpedoes on me. The enemy ships are facing a basically bow tanking target that is going to be very difficult to hit and do substantial damage to. And in turn, if they decide to try and push like the Alaska and the Alsace are here, as long as I have a good shot and my guns are loaded, I can punish them hard, as that Alaska is going to find out very, very quickly. And, well, those of you who have been watching this match, you're actually going to be seeing a lot of this Alaska as this match continues, because it is going to be something of a thorn in my side, but I'm also going to be something of a thorn in his side as well. And it's just going to keep on going. See, the other thing with my positioning here is that I've made sure that anybody who smokes up within 10 kilometers, within either of these two channels, mind you, if I pop my radar, they're going to be sitting out there for anybody and everybody to see. So they really can't push into me too much without risking being radared, and they don't know, they really have no way of knowing whether or not I'm going to use my radar or what. There's always that chance, and that immediately pushes the destroyers into playing a lot more cautiously, knowing that I am here. The only time that they can actually afford to push me is if they know my radar is on cooldown. But here's the other thing. There are also a couple of cruisers that are around me with hydro. Granted, our Alaska is off facing the Soyuz, and he's actually going to be going down very quickly here. But, I mean, just the overall positioning, the overall understanding of where everything is. They really have nothing they can do to dislodge me easily. And by the time I decide to push, they've already taken enough casualties or enough damage where they really don't want to push in turn, and they can't afford to deal with any of the losses. And yeah, I apologize, I was clipping through mountains here. I thought I was going to get over to the Soyuz and the Alaska before they rammed each other out, but unfortunately I didn't. But yeah, that's the other battle that was going on the other side of the map. Yeah, there's that Alaska. He's still alive by, I swear, the grace of God, almost. But yeah, that's he's definitely taken a good chunk of damage. Probably a lot. Oh, sorry about that. Probably a lot more than he really wanted to tank. Now, granted, the simple fact is he has tanked a good chunk of damage, but he still absorbed a lot more, I think, than he really wanted to, coming over between the islands. And so now it's literally just the Alsace, the Fletcher, and the Alaska. And, well, there's the Fletcher. He's not going to last too long if he keeps showing up. Of course, the Kronstadt is trying to push our destroyer, and the Alaska's trying to work his way somewhat sneakily around the other island to the rear and maybe come up on a cap. But, well, let's just say we already kind of know what he's up to, and by the time he pops up, he's just not going to be in any real good position. Well, I say not in any real good position. Well, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, he'll at least be in a position where he can bow tank, but he's not going to be in any position where he can actually do any incredible amount of useful damage, especially against a pushing Missouri. And see, this is one of the things that I actually enjoy about playing as a co-op player. It's because I have learned to play very aggressively, but I can also play defensively. I do know how to play defensively. I do know how to play the kind of sit and wait sort of game. But I can't just sit back and be passive like some other battleships or some other battleship players tend to be, where I'm sniping at long range, where I'm not really at risk of taking damage from, say, cruisers or whatever. But here's the thing. Battleships are basically damage sponges. They're supposed to be in the fray. They're supposed to be pushing up and getting and tanking damage, absorbing damage, so that the rest of the team doesn't have to. Oh, and yeah, that I finally dealt with that pesky Kronstadt. Yeah. This is the other thing. You have to be careful with your target selection, but yes, play aggressively. By all means, play aggressively under the right circumstances, because an aggressive battleship can actually catch even your more aggressive cruiser players very much off guard, I think. So I don't think they were expecting a Missouri to be pushing that hard. But I did, and it worked out rather spectacularly. 144,000 damage done. 1.5 million credits earned. 14,438 EXP. 2,347 free EXP. 4 citadels, 1 kill, 40 main battery hits. But again, the shots that I took, they did, for the most part, good chunks of damage. I mean, okay, yeah, my first salvos on the Alsace didn't do much, but once I started really taking care of my target selection, my damage values really just kind of started climbing. And considering the pool of health overall for the ships in a ranked match, I mean, you're only dealing with 7 ships. 144,000 damage is a lot of damage for a ranked match as far as I'm concerned. 1,906 base EXP. So, very strong top of the team. I definitely put in my effort here. Kronstadt, 70,000 damage done. Alaska, 53,000 damage done. I mean, those were the 2 big pushers on the enemy team, too, aside from the Soyuz, who our Alaska dealt with. So, once those 2 were, handling those 2 and kind of keeping them at bay was, like, a really big deal. I mean, beyond that, though, the Alsace, the Fletcher, I mean, they really didn't do as much as either of those 2 battle cruisers did. And just dealing with them, it definitely did a lot to help the team, to say the least. On top of everything else, I also tanked almost 1 million potential damage. Hell, I even got 22,000 damage of spotting damage, which is unusual for a battleship, but because, again, I had the radar, I was able to light up targets that maybe some of the other ships on my team weren't able to. And, of course, that Alaska, while I did a good chunk of damage to him, he also did a good chunk of damage to me in turn, primarily with fires that he set. So, yeah, I was a thorn in his side, but he was also a thorn in mine. So we were mutual thorns, if you will, if that is a appropriate assessment. And of course that Fletcher also wasn't too happy with me either. I did chunk him for a good bit of damage as well. Overall net results, 1.3 million credits take home. So this is after all of my resupplies and everything. did have a good number of modifiers, but even so, even if I hadn't had those modifiers on there, that's still like 400,000 credits that I would have been walking away from the match with. So it's not like this was a match where well, granted, it's the Missouri. Having a match in the Missouri where I lose credits is like never happening. And of course, because this was a match with a commander that I am trying to build up, the commander directly earned 26,000 EXP almost. And this is the George Doe commander, so I do have some skills on him, like the enhanced expert marksman for the enhanced turret rotation. And as I level him up, I'm also probably going to go for his enhanced adrenaline rush. But, I mean, overall, I mean, this was a 10 skill point commander. This was not one of my 19 pointers. And I still managed to pull off this match. If this had been a 19-pointer commander, granted, the 19 points really only would have been put into, like, AA skills, because now aircraft carriers are a thing in co-ops again. But, I mean, those extra few skill points wouldn't have changed the outcome of this match. Whereas, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to just kind of ramble on if I allow myself to. But I am coming up to the end of the video, so I suppose I shall go ahead and let you all go. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And beyond that, I hope to catch you all again next time. I wish you all happy hunting, and have a good one, folks.